Has been charged with two indictments, and he has been charged with possession of child pornography.
No. He's been charged with receiving and possessing
Yeah.
child pornography.
Yeah, account for each, a charge for each.
So, first of all, the awesome mugshot is not popping up, and I'm kind of sad about that right now, because like right here with this little black boxes, there should be a cool like his mugshot. It's not popping up, so I'm upset right now.
He looks like he's kind of like smirking in the picture, and like one of his eyes is kind of like half closed, like
what?
Like, sup. Like,
America.
and he looks either high or drunk on something. I don't know which, but it is not a. If I was in his situation, that picture of me, I'd look scared as hell. Like, oh my God, I'm going to jail for the rest of my life. But he just looks like, whatever, you caught me. I'm going to get off. I'm not going to jail, you know?
So my question is, so he didn't just have it. I guess he received it, so somebody sent it to him?
I don't know how he
like
got it.
Like the dark web or something?
You can search the dark web, you can buy it, you can download it. A lot of people sell that kind of stuff on the dark web, so you pay money to get videos and pictures of that. So it's getting it and then keeping it, like keeping possession of it.
Well, the dark web is supposed to be like secretive. That's why it's called the dark web. Because you're not supposed to be able to like trace stuff. Like, did he get like the bootleg version? Like, did he get like the dark web light?
I mean,
or he didn't pay. He got not the ad free one. He got the, you know how you can get the ad free one of an app.
So you don't get ads.
So he didn't get that one.
No,
he didn't pay for the ad free one.
I'm not quite sure how they caught him. The FBI has not released how they did that. But my assumption is that there are undercover agents on the dark web searching for these people, posing as just like fellow child molesters looking for the same thing, and so I'm assuming it's something kind of like that. And then once they have probable cause, they can, request a search warrant. They probably seized his computer, his phone, found it, and then they were able to arrest him.
We got the mugshot. Too bad it's like showing like the little scrolling circle.
I think if you scroll down, there's like just a picture and not a video. So keep going.
Oh, okay.
Keep going right there.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Damn.
See, like, look at that smirk. Like, what is wrong with you? What is he doing? I'm just like, what are you doing? You're not helping yourself with that picture at all.
So he's had a couple things. He's had a couple of run-ins, not with the law, just like, I don't know, I guess morally. He's had some issues over the years. So in May 2015, he apologized for quote-unquote wrongdoing after a 2006 police report revealed that he had been investigated as a teen for inappropriately touching 5 underage girls. And 2 of his sisters stepped forward as 2 of the victims.
Yep.
And then months later, in August of 15, Gawker reported that he had active accounts on Ashley Madison.
Yeah.
And that's a website for cheating on your spouse, I guess.
That was a big news story when it came out.
And then ultimately he confessed to having a pornography addiction and cheating on his wife Anna. And they just announced that they were pregnant, right?
Again, with their 7th kid. They literally announced that 2 or 3 days before he got arrested.
Jesus.
They did like a big gender reveal thing. I think she's pregnant with a girl now. So yeah, this is a pretty horrible situation for that family to be in, to say the least.
So, and then apparently in 2019, the dealership that he owned was raided by Homeland Security. They were raided as part of an ongoing federal investigation, but they never really specified what it was about. And they also raided apparently the Duggar compound, like their home, like the big home.
The big home.
So, but I don't know. I don't think the Homeland Security thing had anything to do with this, because I don't think Homeland Security deals with dark web child pornography cases. But I still want to know what he was doing there.
I want to say I read something that was about wire fraud, possibly. So they thought he was committing fraud. I don't think he was ever indicted on that. But yeah, no, this is pretty horrible. But you know, I'm not gonna lie, Sergio. When I heard he got arrested, and this was before they announced what the charges were, they said he got arrested, and then the judge, he was initially denied bail, and then later the judge said, if we give you bail, if you are released on bail, you are not allowed around minors. And as soon as I read that, I was like, oh my god, it's child pornography. And the next day it got confirmed, child pornography.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a place for that. I don't really know how far. I really don't get into this far into these conversations. You know, he's had some problems. You know, you made a good point in pre-production. How I guess some of this is just, I guess, stemmed based off how he was raised.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's a 30-something-year-old man, and he made the conscious decision to do this. So he is 100% fully to blame for his actions and should be held accountable. But at the same time, I think he is a inevitable result of the culture in which he was raised in. You know, I personally feel like he was raised in a very toxic purity culture, where as young, not kids, but as like preteens and teenagers, when your body starts changing and the hormones are going and you're learning about life, you got to learn about the birds and the bees. You know, he didn't get to learn about that stuff because in their religion, you don't talk about that. You don't talk about anything sexual. You don't date. And their family, they don't date, they court.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like you don't physically touch women unless it's like a handshake and that's it. Like you're not allowed to hug girls. You're not even supposed to look at girls for a long time because that's called, yeah. Like if you look at a girl too long, she's catching your attention and that's going to lead to bad sinful thoughts.
Duh.
You know, so it's like, okay, so I can't think about girls. I can't look at girls. I can't touch girls. I want to know more about girls because, you know, it's like you're trying to find the answers yourself. And back then, because he's 30, back then he probably didn't have access. He didn't have smartphones. He probably had limited access to a computer or the internet. You know, and when he was a teenager, he, you know, molested, you know, he inappropriately touched these girls. And then instead of sending him to a psychiatrist or sending him to therapy, his parents sent him to some Christian place where he helped dig a lake, and then they shaved his head as punishment, and then they prayed for him to get better, and that was it.
Well, and the thing is that if you were to take him as a teenager to therapy, I'm pretty sure the therapist is going to tell mom and dad, like, well, half the problem is the way you raise him. They're like, he's doing things normal for a young man of his age. They're like, and I don't think that mom and dad wanted to hear that.
No.
But I do think that's the first thing that would happen is that a psych would say, well, Mr. and Mrs. Duggar, the problem is not your child. The problem is you. And here's why it's you. And then it would have turned into a whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's why they didn't want to do it, because they didn't want to hear that they're not bad parents. They just their methodology is not conventional, and I don't know.
I agree with that statement. They're not trying to be bad parents. They didn't want to raise a kid like this. I think this is the worst scenario for them as well.
Yeah.
But at some point, you have to understand that not everything can just be prayed away. It's great to pray for people, and I pray for people all the time, but this is why we have doctors. This is why you have therapists. This is why you can go talk to people about your problems, because there's no shame in it. Everyone has their issues, and you should be allowed to go talk to someone who will understand and not judge you and get you the help that you need, including like not just therapists, but like there's medications that can help. There are places you can go that can help. There are exercises you can do to help keep your mind in a good place. And I don't think he got any of that. And it's just really disheartening.
Well, and I guess that's where you get into that argument where everybody, well, not everybody, some people in that lifestyle believe that prayer is the answer. The Bible is the answer. It's like, so you're trying to tell me that these medical miracles, they are, I mean, medicine, like all these, what are they, miracles of medicine? You're trying to tell me that that's not like,
God's answer to your prayer.
Exactly.
Penicillin is God's answer to your prayer.
I'm like, there's a lot of things that God has helped produce. You're trying to tell me that God didn't didn't give that brain surgeon the skill set to to save that little kid, from a brain cancer. It's like it's a whole thing. It's like, come on, man. I mean, you start like walking a really fine line between prayer and like modern medicine and stuff like that. I mean, that's my opinion. Here was the funny thing I was thinking about, because you were talking about how he had these incidences with his sisters, and I remember because we used to watch the Duggar show, 19 Kids and Counting, whatever, and the oldest daughter was about to get married, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, her first kiss was on her wedding day to her husband, like their kiss at the altar.
That is Jill Duggar, and I think she's actually
she had a show, right?
Well, so I believe she might be the second oldest or third oldest. She's not the oldest, because the oldest daughter is still unmarried, and the oldest daughter is like 30, but she is unmarried. So Jill, I think, is either the second or third oldest daughter, and she was the first girl to get married. And her husband are no longer on the current show that's about their family.
Show, right?
I don't know if they have their own show.
I think like two of them have their own show or a spin-off or something.
I don't think they do, because they are like she is like the one child in the family who is like trying to get away from that culture. I read somewhere that she hasn't been to her parents' house in like over 2 years or something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
And I mean, she wears pants now. Like, they all wear skirts. She wears pants. I think she has a nose piercing. Her husband's going to law school.
Going to hell.
Right. She drinks alcohol. She's posted a picture of herself drinking alcohol on Instagram. So, I mean, I think she's just an adult now, and she's learning that doing those kinds of things doesn't make you a horrible person. And she's enjoying them. Like, she's becoming who she wants to be, and I think that's awesome.
So, okay, this brings up an interesting question, because you said she wears pants now.
Yeah.
I actually had this conversation with somebody the other day about denominations that don't wear pants. What's bad about pants? Is it because they could be form-fitting?
I don't know the answer to that question. I think it's because they really want to separate male and male associated things from women and women associated things, because think about it, like we're talking about 100 years ago, women still didn't wear pants. Pants are pretty new. Pants are a very contemporary thing. I mean, less than 100 years ago, women started wearing pants. And so I think they're trying to keep up a culture of men are over here and men wear this and men do this and men get to make these decisions, and then women are over here and they do their woman things and they wear skirts because men can't wear skirts, but women can wear skirts.
But they make them wear long skirts, right? It's not like any skirt.
I think the Duggars wouldn't go like past the knee. So like they would wear skirts to their knees, but nothing above the knee.
Right, but I'm saying the other denominations, like they wear the long skirts.
Like ankle. Yeah, a lot of them wear ankle.
So I guess my whole thing is, like, would I rather have my daughter wear a skirt, or would I rather have her wear pants? I don't have a daughter, so I don't know. But, like...
let her wear whatever she wants.
But I'm just saying... but I'm saying, like, what is more, quote-unquote, provocative? Your daughter wearing jeans, or your daughter wearing a skirt? And granted, you can get different levels of shortness or longness on these skirts, but you can get different levels of tightness on those pants too. Like, some of them pants get a little too tight. They don't leave any room to the imagination. But some of those skirts show you everything. So, like, I don't know. And
it's weird because...
I kind of wish they'd let me wear ankle-length skirts.
No one's stopping you.
You know how good that would feel in the summer?
It's very breezy. Like, it's very, like wearing a dress or a skirt. It's like you feel very free. Like,
and then now y'all have pockets.
And now, yeah, they're building dresses with pockets, right? And yeah, it's great. But what I hate that comes out of that, and I won't go too far into this because this is a whole nother conversation, is that they make the women wear these clothes that are very modest and not form-fitting and all this stuff. And it's because they do not want the women arousing the men. Because if you wear a shirt that's slightly too tight, or you wear a skirt that's slightly too tight, you're going to make a boy have temptation. And that's your fault. That is your fault for, growing out of your skirt because you're literally a growing teenager and you didn't have time to go buy a new one yet. and then a boy saw your butt because it's a little tight in your skirt because you haven't had a chance to buy a new size yet, and you caused temptation. You caused him to have sinful thoughts, and that's your fault.
But okay, so I've never been a teenage girl, so I can't speak to this. But I mean, if there was a young man, let's go backwards. Let's rewind in time to young Caitlyn, and there was a boy that had like a tight shirt on, and he was showing off his muscles. Would you be like, ooh, like what? Like what would have triggered young Caitlyn?
To make me think, oh, he's attractive?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was like a height thing. So I like tall guys. So like if I get to look straight up at a guy, I'm like, oh, you're automatically attractive because you're tall. But
if he has like,
I mean, to me, it's just more of a, I wish he had the right size shirt on. But I mean, at least I can tell he tones up. That's nice.
But I'm saying, like, if you saw a guy that was wearing shorts and you're like, ooh, I can see those calf muscles. Those things look good. Or like, ooh, he's got nice arms. Or, oh, he's got nice shoulders. Or
I mean, I think I'd look more at a guy's face first. But I mean, if I found him attractive enough in a face, then I would start looking at the body. But I think overall, I'm looking at like overall appearance, like overall physical. Like, is he overall? Do I like him overall, or do I just like his arms?
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
You know?
should he wear baggy clothes so he won't give you temptation? Should he wear baggy clothes and hide everything?
It should be the same way,
Should he wear a bag over his head? And should he like sit in a wheelchair at all times because he's too tall and you might be attracted to him?
Well, I guess I'm a girl, so I'm just not supposed to have bad thoughts in general. Like, it's just impossible for me to have that, apparently.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's kind of a double standard.
I know, and it sucks. It kind of sucks.
You
And
know?
so I feel my heart goes out to the family again of Josh Duggar, Anna, their kids, and the whole 19 kids and their clans and whatever. It's just. You know, I hope everyone takes something away from this, whether it's good or bad. Lessons will be learned.
I mean, the thing I took away from it is if you're gonna get on the dark web, don't get the free version.
Don't get the free.
Don't get the free version. That's like the one thing you don't get the free version of. Like if you're gonna download an app, don't download the free version of the dark web. Probably don't go to like the Apple. What is it? Don't go to iTunes to get the. Don't go to the App Store for dark web.
I doubt he went to the App Store to get the dark web. I mean, he should have just been on the dark web. Just guys, it's a scary place. Don't ever go there. There's nothing good there for you. Just don't do it.
I don't even know how to get there.
I don't know either. I wouldn't Google it. Do not Google how to get to the dark web. I'll
have somebody knocking on my door.
That is the worst thing you could possibly do. But just don't go on it. Just don't go on it.
Don't YouTube how to get on the dark web.
Don't YouTube it. Don't Google it. Don't go on Bing. Just avoid it.
Who goes on Bing to begin with?
Some people.
Nobody Bings anything.
I don't know.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, so this was a news article that is local to us because we live in the DFW Metroplex. So the body of the current Mrs. Dallas, LaShawn Massey, was found in an Irving lake. She went missing, I think, about a week ago. She went missing this past Tuesday. She was taking a walk around the lake that's in her neighborhood, and apparently she walks around this lake every morning. She gets up at like 5:30. She does her mile or two around the lake and goes home and gets ready for her day. And she's been doing this for literally 2 years every morning. And one day she went for a walk and she didn't make it back home, like at the time she normally gets back. And her husband was already like, oh, why isn't she here? Why isn't she home? And so he waits a while, and eventually he's like, something's not right. They can't find her. So he, calls police. They put in a missing persons report. They have no idea where she went. And then a few days later, they found a body in the lake. And then a few days after that, they confirmed it was her body.
We already know who did it. We already know who did it.
We know who did it?
Yeah.
We or you? Because I don't.
I do.
Who was
Who
it?
always does it? It's the husband.
I don't think it was the
husband.
husband.
Did it.
No.
Has he been on TV crying yet?
I don't. I haven't seen any
has
videos.
Been, he did it. Just from every crime movie I've ever seen, he's done it.
So
here's the interesting thing about this. So there's a quote. Police said there is still no indication of foul play, but they are investigating the, quote, unusual circumstances of Massey's disappearance. Well, then there's foul play. If you're investigating the unusualness of the circumstance, There's foul play involved.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's her husband.
I mean, that's always priority number. That's the one they always think is the guy.
But he wasn't on the walk with her.
I know. That's even more suspicious.
So I think she ran into some bad person who did something to her. I think they're going to get more answers once they complete an autopsy to see if, did she have injuries to her head? Did she have injuries to her chest, to her neck? Things like that. Maybe she was hit on the head. Maybe something hit her. Maybe someone hit her, pushed her in the lake.
It's never a random person. It's because when people have habits like that and then they're like, oh, she does this every day or he does this every day and now he's gone. It's like, yeah, somebody knew you did that every day. You pissed off somebody. Mm-hmm. You wronged somebody,
which is really sad because she's Mrs. Dallas and she was going to compete later this year, again for a different pageant she's getting ready for. And I mean, the worst part is that she's a mom. She has 2 kids, and now this whole family, lost their mom, and they don't know what happened. I mean, I'm sure that she didn't just fall in the lake, and drowned.
No.
She knows this lake probably like the back of her hand if she walks it every single morning. So someone did something to her,
there is no
which is really
unusual
scary. No.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get like some camera footage. Maybe there's cameras on the streets or people's houses nearby that maybe caught her, or a car driving in her direction. I don't know.
Let's get something. Let's find out.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a smartass.
I'm gonna keep a notification on this story to get updates on it because I really want to know what happened to her because it's really sad and my heart goes out to their family, and I just want to throw this article in there because it kind of relates to where we live. It's kind of scary.
No, thanks. You're like scaring me now.
Don't go on walks around lakes, guys.
What lake was it?
A lake in her neighborhood.
Okay, no, I need to know which lake. Irving Lake. Irving Lake.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I need to know what lake so I don't go to it. So before we move on, I do need a beverage intermission.
Another one. Oh my gosh. Let me just reach into our new handy dandy fridge.
The most awesome part of having the fridge right here.
I'm your new bartender. What can I get for you, sir?
Anything with alcohol that is cold. This is so awesome.
I can make that happen.
Before too long, I'm just gonna carry like liquor bottles under here, and I'm just gonna like open it up and like just pour me. I'm gonna be like, here, Caitlin, give me some ice, and I was like, I get a little shaker. We should do like theme nights, like theme shows. We do like martini night and margarita night. We have electricity now, so
isn't there a podcast out there called like Murder and Martinis or something?
I don't know.
That would be fun. We can get a blender out here and make margaritas.
I don't listen to other podcasts, so I don't know. I don't cheat on our podcast.
I cheat on our podcast all the time.
Except for Bourbons and Lags. Check out Bourbons and Lags.
Bourbons and Lags.
Okay.
This next article was kind of funny.
Yes. We're talking about... Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. So we know Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher.
Love them. Obsessed. Love Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
Their kids are adorable, by the way.
I know. They're so cute.
So Mila Kunis was on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And she admitted that she tried to warn Ashton Kutcher from investing in some of the most successful companies today. Because he has invested in a lot of different things. I think he did Airbnb, didn't he?
I remember he did Twitter. Like, he was really big on Twitter when Twitter first came out.
Really?
He helped make Twitter what it is today.
So apparently she told him is to not invest in Uber or Bitcoin over a decade ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, her dad used to be a cab driver.
And she just thought it wasn't a good idea?
Well, yeah, because her dad was a cab driver, and as a cab driver, you basically live off tips. And so she remembered growing up as a kid, her family and her dad's income relied on tips and things like that. So she automatically just assumed a cab. There's no money in driving a cab. Why would we want to invest in a company like that? He's like, oh, it's this new company, Mila, where everyone's a cab driver.
So she was explaining that there's a story where he was explaining that to her, and she goes, so I was like, you're going to put me in a car with a stranger. What is wrong with you? She goes, I was furious at him.
I can just imagine them having this conversation.
He's
probably like, damn, Mila. Like he used to go, damn, Jackie, on that 70s show.
So then the second time, he sat me down and he was like, hey, babe, I got to explain this thing to you. Tell me if I'm crazy. And he's like, there's this thing. It's like mining for money. It's called cryptocurrency. And there's this company. It's 8 years ago. It was called Bitcoin. And she was talking about how it wasn't FDIC insured back then. And she made him think it wasn't a good idea. She thought it was a horrible idea.
And he's like, cool, we're still investing in it.
But if I'm not mistaken, he bet on Airbnb as well.
Yeah, it says some of the most successful companies he's invested in are Uber, Bitcoin, Airbnb, and Skype. And I know Twitter as well.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
He is just such a good actor, and you can tell how...
No, don't you? No.
I think he is.
Where? Name a movie.
What's the name of it where he plays a Marine?
That wasn't him.
The
Josh
diver. The diver. He's not the Marines. I'm sorry, the Coast Guard. He's in a movie about it being a Coast Guard.
The one where he's in it with Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, they're like the divers that save people in the
ocean.
Kind of
Yeah,
like the Coast Guard divers or whatever. What is it, like Angel from the Sky or something?
I'm not saying he's been in the best TV shows. I'm not saying TV shows. Those are all just kind of eh.
Well, when you said he was a Marine, I thought you had him confused for Josh Hartnett in Black Hawk Down.
No.
A lot of people confuse them too as actors.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said Marine. I meant the Coast Guard.
Dang it, what is the name of that movie? It's called like Guardian or something, right?
I don't know. You're asking. Do not ask me about movies. People know this.
Yeah, I think it was called like Guardian or something. Yeah,
And,
it's Kevin Costner.
so he's been, not every movie, but I specifically, him being in that movie and me going, wow. But I think the TV shows, his comedy it is what it is. I mean, I laugh.
So you think he was a genius in Dude, Where's My Car?
I didn't say every movie. Everyone's got to start somewhere.
I mean, yeah.
I still think that 70s show is like the best show he's ever been on.
Did you know that he was Mila Kunis's first kiss, but he didn't know that was her first kiss?
Yeah, isn't that sweet? I think that's so sweet.
That's so weird.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
She married her first kiss.
Yeah.
But he had like 7,000 kisses before that.
Oh, probably. It's Ashton Kutcher. He was a model. He was like an underwear model before that. Did you know that?
And he was married to Demi Moore.
Demi Moore for a while.
And Demi Moore, is it Demi or Demi?
I don't know.
And she's like 20 years older than him at least. He was like co-parenting with her and Bruce Willis, because those were the stepkids, or Bruce Willis's kids. Wow. That'd be scary. And then the stepkids were almost as old as him.
Isn't that awkward?
That's so weird.
That marriage didn't last very long.
No, it didn't last. But I think he's still close with them, with the stepkids. My ex stepkids, like, how old are they? They're like 32. Like, you're 38. Yeah,
it happens.
That's so weird.
Some people have aunts and uncles that are the same age as them.
Who's their dad? Bruce Willis? It's like, shit.
Oh man.
Like, sorry. That'd be so weird. Like whenever it's Bruce's weekend and you got to go take the girls to him. Like, that'd be really intimidating. Like,
I'd be like, hi, Bruce Willis.
Hi, Bruce Willis. Like,
hi, Bruce Willis. You're cool. I like your movies.
Like, I'm scared of you.
Please don't hurt me.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
The girls had a good time. I bought them everything they wanted.
Yeah,
don't kill me.
Don't worry. They're in great hands.
We had fun.
Here's my wallet. Bruce Willis.
I didn't say no to them.
So, okay, what else we got? I'm waiting for this thing to open up.
Oh, man. Well, I'll go ahead and let you know. So the last thing we're going to talk about right now is something that I've been watching in the news because I find it very interesting. So we are going to talk about the housing market right now.
Ooh.
And so if you're in the housing market trying to buy a home right now, I know you're frustrated. If you're not in the housing market right now, I don't recommend getting into it. If you're currently renting, you're probably going to be renting for a while longer. Because right now the market is so red hot. It's basically like the Wild West out there. Like, the market is so crazy right now. Because of COVID, everyone's been working from home. Everyone needs more space. Everyone's realizing, a home is what I want to do. I want a mortgage. I don't want to keep paying rent. The suburbs sound nice because I can take my kid to recess at the park down the street, and we can build them an extra classroom and an extra bedroom and stuff like that.
Once they realized they were going to spend a lot more time at home, they realized how much home sucked.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what it comes down to. People that were living in apartments, they loved the convenience of it, but they were never there. And then once they had to be there, They're like, one, there's not that much room. Two, I'm paying a whole lot of money to not have enough room. You know? And three, yes, my apartment has all these awesome amenities, but I can't use any of them right now.
Yeah.
So what's the point of me paying all this extra money for said amenities?
Yeah. You can't go to your job that's right down the street. You can't eat at the restaurants that are probably right downstairs. You can't go to the bars that are, you know, a few blocks away.
But you can't go to the pool. You can't go to the hot tub. You can't go to the gym downstairs. You know, you can't go to the clubhouse and you know, play pool. Like, there's so many different, like, people don't understand. There's so many amenities at the apartment complex.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's awesome.
But if you can't use any of them, what are you paying for? Because that's the first thing. When you go to an apartment complex and you tour the complex, what's the first thing they show you? They don't show you the apartment. They tell you about, like they show you like a diagram, and they're like, oh, let's go for a ride in our little golf cart, and we're gonna show you the pool, and we're gonna show you the adult pool, and look, oh, here's the dog park, and oh, there's a bar right here. Go ask for Steve. He's a great bartender.
Yeah.
You know, here's the gym. It's open 24/7. We have laundry service on site. All kinds of other crap, you know? And then you get to having a pandemic, and it's like, oh, everything that we told you was going to be awesome about this place is closed.
Yep.
Thank
Can't go.
you.
Yeah.
But you still have to pay your rent, and your rent's not going down.
No. If anything, their rent went up still. So the reason that's the reason, you know, people are moving and wanting houses. And the problem, you know, obviously with economics, it's supply and demand. There are more people trying to buy homes than there are homes actually available to sell. So pretty much any house that goes on listing is sold. I mean, some people are selling their house within hours of them putting it on a listing.
And they're never getting asking price. It always turns into a bidding war right
It is, everything is a bidding war. People are getting outbidded on every house because people are putting down cash offers, full cash offers. People are foregoing like inspections just to get the house. They're like, oh,
wow.
we will skip the inspection. We will sign off to waive that if it means we get this house. And everyone is having to bid above the asking price of the house.
So I've got a friend of mine who sells like new home builds, and he's only been doing it for a few months. He got out of the car business to do this, and I talked to him a couple weeks after he started, and he was doing really well. He's like, I've already sold 4 houses. His first month, he sold 4 houses. Never sold a house in his life. He sold 4 houses. He goes, like, I'm clearly on my way to be Rookie of the Year. He goes, I'm right behind the top sales guy for the company. He goes, I'm an order taker. He goes, I'm literally an order taker. People just call and they're like, hey, I'm interested in this house. Give me all the info. He goes, and I give them all the deets, and they either pull the trigger or they don't. He goes, there's no having to sell them on the amenities or this and that. He goes, it's all just give me the details. Tell me about the property. Tell me about the price. Tell me about this and that. They don't give a crap about anything. He goes, it's pretty easy to do this. He goes, I'm not having to actually sell them. All I'm doing is giving them information. But then the other side of it is like, yes, it's really easy to talk to people and to communicate and try and get them to a house. But once they sign on the house, then it turns into a whole thing like, oh, there's a lumber shortage.
Yep.
Because there's all this influx of housing. And he said, man, he goes, what would normally take 4 to 6 months to build is taking 12 to 18 months to build. He goes, and the customers aren't finding that out until after they sign the paperwork. He's like, because they're just like, let's get your money. Let's get you in here. Once we got your money, it's non-refundable. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't want it, cool. We're going to keep your money.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, hey, Mr. Customer, nothing we can do for you.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then people are settling for like the demos, like the model homes. Because they're like, well, I want a house right now. Well, I got these model homes are probably not quite what you want. And usually the model homes are a little cheaper because, you know, they've been showed, like it's like a used car. It's a little older. He goes, nope, they're paying full pop for those things, if not more, because it's a premium because it's already ready to go. Isn't that insane?
Yes. And it's the new home builders. Yeah, there is shortages on brick. There's shortages on lumber. There's shortages on labor. And another factor that's contributed to this is that there has been underdevelopment of homes the past decade. If we had been building homes like we should have been this whole time for the past 10 years, I'm not saying it still wouldn't be a red hot market, but it probably wouldn't be as bad. but they haven't been building homes at a steady rate the past 10 years because it hasn't been a hot market until now, and all of a sudden everyone buys one. And this article, when you watch the video, I mean, it says that if every single home builder in the US built homes every single day, like, you know, full force, went as fast as they could, they would still not have enough homes in a year to help all these people. We'd have to build almost 4 million homes to accommodate all the people trying to buy a house right now. And that's just not going to happen. Not with all the shortages going on. And with the price of all these houses, everyone that was saving up to try to buy like a medium-sized household house at a medium price, let's say like $200,000 to $300,000, they can't. They're getting outbidded. The house that they originally wanted to buy for $200,000 last year is now up to $350,000, and people are bidding and putting cash offers down for prices above that.
So why don't you give them the example that you had, of the experience that you had? Just
Oh, yeah. I didn't have a bad experience. I had a great experience.
But I know, but like what you saw after the fact.
So it is currently May 2021. My fiance and I put earnest money down for our house currently in May of 2020. I believe it was May, like towards the end of May 2020. So pretty much almost exactly a year ago, we put earnest money down. They started building our house. Our house was done by like November, I think it was done. I think it was November is when it was like pretty much finished, because we did have to wait a little bit, and this is a year ago. We had to wait a little bit for our lumber, but it wasn't delayed that much. We had to wait a little bit longer for the brick, and I'm talking like less than a week it was delayed, so not really that big a deal. But we got our house built. We signed for it December 31st of 2020. So as of January 1st this year, we were officially homeowners. But even though our house was built and we signed and we owned it, there were still a few things that they had to finish in the house because the stuff they ordered wasn't there. Like we were missing a chandelier type light. I say chandelier, it was not pretty. It is not pretty, but it was like a hanging light that we were missing in the dining room. We were just missing like a couple things because they had to order it and it wasn't in yet. And so we really didn't move into the house until February. But the main thing was we had a house. But I remember, so we put earnest money down. We went back to our model home to have a meeting with the lady who sold us the house because we had to like just do some paperwork and set up a design meeting. No big deal. And we were talking to her, and it had been 30 days. She said in those 30 days they had sold over 20 houses. Wow. Now, the neighborhood I moved to is pretty much all built. It had 7 phases, and they're building phase 7, which is the last phase of the neighborhood. So all the houses around me, like on my street and all the streets perpendicular and close to mine, are under development, and all the signs in front of the plots used to say available, 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 and now they all say sold. Every single sign I see says sold. So I'm pretty sure every single plot in the rest of the neighborhood is gone. So I'm really glad we made the decision to buy a house when we did, because if we were in the housing market now, well, first of all, the value of my house has gone up a lot, like 20%. Like within 5 months of us living there, the value of our house has gone up 20%. So if we tried to sell our house right now, we'd probably sell it within a few days, and we'd get so much more for it.
But the funny thing is that you can't buy that same house.
No.
For what you bought it
for.
Or for what you sell it for, you can't buy that same house.
If we tried to buy the same exact house today, we could not afford it. And that's what's so scary. Because the value of our house has gone up so much just because of the way the market is. I wouldn't be able to afford this house. I don't know what we'd be able to afford. And we probably wouldn't get anything because everyone's probably richer than us or has more property that they can sell to buy other property, and we don't have property up until now. So I mean, there was no way we'd be able to get a house right now. So I'm really glad we made the decision when we did. But yeah, I mean, even a year ago houses were selling like crazy, and now that everyone's been home for a year, everyone else wants a house now. Everyone thought we'd be going back to work in 6 months, and that wasn't the case.
No. I didn't believe that.
Yeah.
Former President Trump. I didn't believe that. So I sell cars for a living. I sell pre-owned vehicles. I sell like mid to high-end luxury cars is what I would say we do. $8,000 to $80,000. So we got a little bit of everything for everybody. Shout out to Trade Light Motor Cars. Anyways, That being said, we sell cars all over the country. We sell cars to people in the Dallas area, but then we get people that call from like other states looking for a car. And the one thing I always like to point out to them when they're like, "Hey, I'm looking for this like convertible Mercedes," it's like, "Hey, Mr. Customer, I'm not going to give you a deal." And they're like, "Well, why?" Blah blah blah. It's like, because you're calling me from California, and if you're calling me from 1,500 miles away, it's because you can't find that car within the 1,500 miles. So no, I'm going to sell it to you for my asking price. And if you don't buy it, that's cool because somebody else is going to buy it. What's going on right now with the car market? When COVID hit, a lot of these warehouses or a lot of these
manufacturers plants,
shut down, and then they reopened a lot slower, and everything has continued to build at a slower pace. And then you have this ship shortage out of China, and that's affecting some vehicles, primarily vehicles that have four-wheel drive, because nowadays it's not like back in the old days, like you would shift it into four-wheel drive. You had like an actual shifter, and it was mechanical. Well, now it's electrical. Now it's just like a little knob that turns on the four-wheel drive. Well, a lot of those chips are what does that. So cars that are four-wheel drive or vehicles that are four-wheel drive, they have shortages on that. So a lot of manufacturers are slowing down their build on that. So you can't necessarily find a truck. You can't find a Chevy Silverado that's four-wheel drive. You can't special order that thing. Heck, the brand new Corvettes that came out last year have been on back order for a year. They're still on back order. You get a Corvette. They're building them right now. They special build them right now. And if you call and you place an order and you build a Corvette, you have to give a deposit, non-refundable. After they do that, after they take your deposit, then they'll call you back somewhere down the road and say, by the way, it's going to take 6 months to a year to build your Corvette. So thanks for your deposit. That's a part of your contract. You've given me a non-refundable deposit. Chip shortages. All this is just causing a lot of stuff to go on. So what's going on? Like if you go to a new car dealership, back in the day, you drive to a new car dealership, the new car department was full of vehicles. The pre-owned department was full of vehicles. Well, when you buy a new car, let's say you trade in your car, that goes to the pre-owned department. That turns into a pre-owned vehicle. Well, if there's a shortage of new vehicles being produced, there is a shortage of inventory for pre-owned as well. So what started happening about this time last year is that a lot of these big franchise dealerships, these dealerships that have hundreds of dealerships all across the country, they were having a shortage on new inventory and pre-owned inventory. So then they started going to the auctions that we would go to. We're a small independent dealer, and by small I mean we still carry about 200 cars. So small independent dealers, they go to the auctions, they buy pre-owned cars, and we sell them. Well, now these new car dealers were going to buy inventory because they didn't have any inventory. So it created an issue with the demand.
Wow.
There was like a false sense of supply and demand. And now it's very real because if you drive by a new car lot right now, most new car lots are pretty empty. If you drive by any of these major dealerships, a lot of them are empty. So that's the same concept. You have people right now that, they want a brand new Chevy Silverado, but they can't find it. They want a brand new Chevy Silverado, lifted, four-wheel drive, leather, panoramic roof, all the bells and whistles. They can't find it. So then they got to buy it pre-owned, but there's less of those too. So it's like the cost has gone up on them because there's a demand for it. So yes, it affects everything, the housing market and the auto market, building, lumber, brick, all that stuff. Like people don't understand the economical effect COVID has had on everybody. Because like you said, people weren't buying houses because they had all these amenities. They didn't need to. There's been an influx in people that have wanted to build swimming pools because now they're home more and they're just like, I can't go anywhere.
Can't go to the public pool.
Let's build a swimming pool. I want to build a deck because I want to deck out my backyard to have parties because now I can't go to the club. I want the club to come to me. That's why we got a me shed. Literally is why I have a me shed. We shed. We're calling this damn thing the we shed.
The we shed.
That's why we have this thing. I have this thing because I can't go to, I used to go to the local game store, love them to death. We used to be able to go there, and we knew that they were open from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. 6-7 days. They were open 7 days a week at one point. We could go in there and we could say, hey, we're coming on Tuesday. We're going to go record a show. Cool. And then the next week, hey, maybe I can't make it on Tuesday. I'm going to come on Wednesday. Or hey, I can't make it Wednesday. I'm going to come Sunday. Whatever. But we had that luxury, and we knew they were open, 12, 13 hours a day. And then it got to the point where they were shut down completely. Then it got to the point where they reopened, but they didn't open on Sundays, and Sunday was more convenient for me and for you for our schedules, but we couldn't go on Sunday. So we got to the point where it's like, if I want to continue to do this show, I have to bring the studio to me. I can't go anywhere. And that's where we're at right now. That's why we're here. That's why I invested in a me shed or a we shed, because I wanted to be able to walk in here and do my show and not have to worry about a damn thing. You know?
Doesn't it feel great having your own place?
It feels amazing, but I'm just pointing the fact out that that's how committed I had to be to continue to do this.
Yeah.
Is that it's like, okay, well, if we're going to do this and I want it to look cool, like, I have to have an area.
Yeah.
I have to create an area, or I'm going to have to buy an area. And I bought an area. That's what I did. Got a building, and let's build it. Let's add all the amenities that we would have wanted. So
and what's funny too is that even when we have herd immunity with COVID and vaccinations, you know, even when things, let's just say, quote unquote, can go back to normal, you know, physically, with locations and being in tight spaces with people and no mask, even when that is 100% okay, I don't see that happening. I think our perception of work and life is going to be a hybrid moving forward, because people and companies and employers, especially employers, have realized that a lot of their employees can do their job from home. They can do their job from home. They don't need to be going into the office all the time. So if you are a small business, if I'm an employer, let's say I own a small company, in my company, all I need is a simple small office building with desks and computers and phones. And then, you know, there's like the bathroom and stuff. But if I don't need a warehouse, I don't need a manufacturing facility, I don't need storage. If it's literally just a plain office where my people come and do their work at a computer and a phone, I can just have them work from home, and I can give up my office space and not have to pay the lease on my office.
That's exactly what's going on.
And it's more money in my pocket, and my employees are happy because they get to work from home and do their thing. And I can just rent, you know, a meeting room at a hotel once a month or twice a year whenever we have to have a company meeting.
So Myrna, my fiance, where she works at, they're in North Dallas. They have a pretty nice office, and they take up like a quarter of a floor. They got a pretty big suite up there. And I guess they were talking about that a few months back, that they were talking about downsizing to a smaller suite. I guess when they first got into that building, they had a small suite, and then they upgraded to that bigger one a few years back. And they're like, well, we're thinking of downgrading because we don't have that many people here anymore. We have employees, but we don't have that many people physically here, and we don't see us having people physically here. And like you said, yeah, we need a location for the servers and for all that stuff, and we need a meeting area, but we don't really need like an area that accommodates 50 cubicles. Maybe we need a place that only accommodates 20 cubicles, you know? So yeah, you're absolutely right. Companies are realizing that like our employees can do a lot of this stuff, you know, from home. And yeah, there's little inconveniences, you know, you got a kid in the background when you're doing a Zoom call or something. But is that worth us spending the money on a building? A building that we have to sanitize every night. We still, you know, yeah, we still have the cleaning crew. Now we got to spend more money to make it more clean.
You got to still pay the utilities on it.
Utilities. Yeah, there's so much stuff, you know, security, all that crazy stuff. And now it's like, well, you know, maybe we're better off just making our virtual experience better. You know, like, hey, I don't have a laptop. I'm always worked from an office. I don't have a laptop. I don't have a desktop. Well, here, I'll buy you one. We'll buy you a monitor. You can take your office chair. We'll set you up a phone. Her company, not for her, but the other employees, they give them like a credit each month for their internet bill.
Oh, nice.
Like
That's really thoughtful.
They credit them their internet bill, because it's like, well, we don't have to have an internet. We don't have to have a high-speed internet at our building, or as high-speed now.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a $50 credit, $100 credit, whatever.
And again, this is why this is leading to such a crisis in the housing market, is because even when COVID's officially quote unquote over and we have herd immunity and it's safe for everyone to be around each other, that's not going to happen just because people like working from home, and people see themselves working from home in the long run, even after COVID. And that's why everyone wants a house. That's why millennials want a house. Millennials are joining the housing market because they see this and they want to help buy houses too. And people that currently own houses see this, and they're not selling their house either. Again, That's why there's like such a high demand for all these houses, because there aren't enough new ones being built. There's shortages on lumber, and the people who own houses aren't selling them. So
No. And if you have a house right now,
keep it.
there are people that they send us notices all the time that will buy your house. It's like, I can't buy the same house for what they'd give me for it.
Unless you know for a fact that you have another house secured in your name that you and your family can get. I mean, if you can do that, by all means, sell what you got, get higher than what you paid for it, and help pay off that new house. But if you don't have that and you have a house, stay where you
But
are.
guess what? Even if you find that house, I guarantee you that house is not going to be close. That
No,
house is going to
no.
be in like an undeveloped part, like an undeveloped up-and-coming suburb, an hour away. That's what I've noticed around here in Dallas. It's like, yeah, they're out there, but you're going to drive an hour out of your way compared to where you are now.
My best friend just moved to Josephine, Texas. If you don't know where that is, that's okay. It's close to like Nevada. It's close to like Royce City. So it's far, far, far
me.
east of Dallas.
It's near me.
But for them to drive to Dallas, I looked it up. It's like 40 to 45 minutes
Hey,
without traffic,
that's
just to
where I am.
get to like the outskirts of Dallas, not even to downtown Dallas.
Oh, okay, no. I can make it to downtown in 30.
No, they
So-
can't.
But yeah, so I mean, that was an interesting story. I think that was a very educational for the
Thank
the listening audience. Look
Yes.
at us educating people. That's what we're doing here in the We Shed. We're educating people.
We talk about celebrity drama, and then we talk about educational stuff in the economy.
You know,
It's all sorts of. You never know what you're gonna get when you turn on our show.
I hope we can encourage somebody to get a We Shed like us.
Yes, this thing's awesome.
They're like, oh man, they got a fridge. I'm gonna get a microwave in here to piss y'all off.
Popcorn machine.
Nobody really has seen what's under this thing yet. We got to do an episode about what's under this thing.
Are you sure they want to see what's under here?
Yes, we're gonna
Okay.
do it one day. We're gonna do an episode. I think we're gonna do a whole episode on. This is not just a bar. It's a bar, but it's not just a bar.
We should have like a before and after video. Like we should film ourselves. We're gonna put a TV up in here, like everything. We should start filming what goes on in here.
Yeah, or what? I mean, we don't want to film everything. Some things you don't need to see. So I think that's gonna wrap us up.
Yeah.
Let's shout out to the sponsors again.
Cool.
East Texas Championship Wrestling, the local game store in Richardson, Texas, for all of your gaming needs. KennyLanahan.org, Tantalizing Tip to Toe by Myrna. We need to get Myrna in here to talk about that and do your nails. And Young Ideas Dish,
Texas Soundworks.
Texas Soundworks with a Z. So anyways, on behalf of them and myself and Miss Kate here,
Hey.
we're Law and Disorder. We'll holler at you guys next time.
Peace.
Latest.